Sometimes it's handy to have different target types in the same direct select bank. With custom direct selects, you can do just that. You can also assign console buttons and navigation tools to custom direct selects, resulting in flexible workspaces that are quick and easy to set up. All right, let's start by recalling snapshot 2. And I'm going to change our group's direct selects to custom. We have a couple there already, but I'm going to start a new one. So I'm going to tap on number 11 and touch Confirm Create. So now I have created a custom direct select number 11, which is a list of targets. So right now that list is blank. So to populate it, I can touch a target. I'll touch number 1, and I'll just leave that on channels, and I'm going to start it at channel 1. And I'll say enter, enter, and OK. And now I have dropped in channel 1 onto that direct select. That label is coming in from the label field in Patch. I can also add these as a range. So I'm going to select my second one. I'm going to leave it on channels. I'll say start at 2, and this time I want to end at 10. And I want my offset to be 1. We'll say OK. And it's going to fill in 2 through 10 right there. I can do this from the command line as well. So I can type in focus palette 1 through 5, and then double tap a tile. And that will populate those 5 onto those subsequent tiles. I'm going to go ahead and clear my command line. If I need to remove a direct select, I can hold Escape and tap 1. I can also remove a range of direct selects. To do that, I hold Escape again, and then I press and hold the first tile in that range, and then tap the last tile in that range, and everything will be removed. Remember, I'm not deleting that content, I'm just removing it from my custom direct selects. And I do want to drop one more on here right now, so I'm going to type Intensity Palette 1 and double tap number 10 there. Let's take a look at how to do this in Blind. I'm going to switch to full screen here and close my CIA so we have a little more space to work with. And then I'm going to tap my Custom button there, choose Custom again, and then you'll see there's an Open Custom Direct Select Editor button. I'm going to press that. I can also get into this space by adding a tab and choosing tab 39 Custom Direct Selects. Down at the bottom, you'll see our list of targets, and I'm going to go ahead and label number 11 here. Let's call this Mixed Targets. Here I can also assign a direct select icon. For more information on that, check out our standard direct selects video. At the top of the editor, I have some buttons that let us audition various layouts for our direct selects. These won't affect how these are displayed out in live when we're using them. Those will be determined by the settings of those frames, which we can store in snapshots. These buttons are simply to try out different arrangements. So let's take a look at some. Go to a 25 or a 10 by 1. And if you keep an eye on our 100% intensity palette, you'll see it's always on tile number 10, no matter where tile number 10 is in the arrangement. This is just a way to test out some organization before you commit to something in your programming setup. Let's go back to 50 for now. We also have some handy cut, copy, and paste tools. So if I lasso these 5 tiles, I can say copy, and you'll see I get a preview of the clipboard down below here. And I'm going to paste those in the next row down. We can also assign tiles in the same way that we did in live. So if I tap square number 1, I can come over here and say I want that to be a color palette. I'm going to start at 1, and I'm going to go through 7. We'll leave our offset at 1, and when I click apply, it's going to drop in those color palettes. Next, I'll lasso the bottom row of 10 tiles here. I'm going to say presets. I'm going to start at 1, and I'll leave my offset at 1. But this time I'm going to uncheck the include non-existent whole number targets checkbox. When I click apply, you'll see that it did not fill every tile. That's because there aren't that many presets in the show file. It only filled in with what I have available. You'll also see it only filled in with presets that are actually there. For example, there's nothing stored between preset 2 and 11. We also have the ability to assign tiles to be console buttons. I'm going to grab this one here. I'll say button. And the top drop down gives me a couple options. We're going to leave it on console button for the moment. And the second drop down is going to give me a list of all my available console buttons. These include hard keys and soft keys. I'm looking for offset. I'm going to choose offset and hit apply. And now that tile will behave just like the offset key. I'm going to go ahead and click and drag that bottom row, and you can tap or lasso to select icons, and I'm going to use my delete button to get rid of those for now. Let's add a couple of navigation tiles. I'm going to click on number 40, and I'm going to say button again. This time I want it to be a next or previous page button. I want that one to be previous page. I'm going to say apply, and I want number 50 to be next page, and I'll apply that. The next page and previous page tiles will behave just like the up and down arrows on the right of the screen. However, sometimes I choose to turn those off in my snapshot to give the tiles a little more space, and now I can still have that navigation ability here. Next, I'm going to copy my entire custom direct select to a new one. So I'm going to say copy to 12, enter, and 12 is now selected, so that's the one we're working on. And I'm going to call this one macros. So for the moment, I'm going to get rid of all of my tiles except my previous and next page. I'm going to leave those there. So I'm going to say delete. I'm going to build this to mimic the hard macro keys on my TI console here in the center. So to do that, I'm going to click the buttons in the order that they appear on the console. And those are going to populate in the order in which I clicked them. So I'm going to say macros 801. We're going to leave the offset at 1 and apply that. And now that looks a lot like the bottom half of my hard macro keys on my TI desk. I'm going to click this down arrow to go down to tiles 51 through 100. For this one, I'm just going to add some more macros, but I'm going to start those at 1. And I will apply that. Several of those are blank. We'll fill those in later. I'm going to go back up to the first page. We have another navigation tool called Jump To. So I'm going to assign that to number 30 here. That's also going to be under button, and I can specify Jump To. I have the ability to jump within a custom direct select list or to another list entirely. For this one, I want to be able to jump back to my first list. So I'm going to select direct select 11, and I can choose where in that list I want to jump to as well. I am going to leave that at 1 for today. Hit apply. And so now the button says 11/1, meaning custom direct select 11 tile number 1. I want these buttons on my first page as well. So I'm going to highlight those, copy, go up to the first page, and paste those there. We can also copy and paste things between custom direct selects. So I'm going to select just my jump to button. I'm going to say copy that. I'm going to press last to go back to my mixed targets custom direct selects. And I'm going to go up to the first page. And I'm going to paste that in the same spot there. I want this jump to button to be able to jump back to my macros setup. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to have it go to my macros custom direct selects. And I'm going to leave that at tile number 1. I'm going to hit apply. The last thing I need to do here is clean this up. I've got a little bit of redundancy here. So I'm going to delete this row of focus palettes. I don't need them twice. We'll delete those there. Let's call up snapshot 2. And I'm going to replace these group direct selects with our new custom one, our mixed targets. Now I can use these just like I can any other direct selects. I can use my jump to button to navigate to my macros. I can hit next page there. I can jump back to my mixed targets. And if I bring up our psych and say group 20, tap my 100% intensity palette, I can pick a color, and they work just like the rest of our direct selects do. I'm gonna go ahead and store this as snapshot 3. So we'll say record, snapshot 3, enter. Now we have it to use for our programming. A quick note that any show files that were created in software versions previous to 3.1, those custom direct selects will come in as long as they were stored in a snapshot in your previous show files.